Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogreboy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2000 movie Final Destination. So this movie follows Alex Browning, who is embarking on a trip to Paris with his school, and he experiences a premonition as he sees the plane explode moments before it leaves the ground. And after he witnesses the premonition, he insists that everyone get off the plane, and 7 people, including Alex, are forced to disembark. And they all watch as the plane actually explodes in a fireball as it's leaving the ground. And he and other survivors have cheated death, but not able to evade their fate for very long, as one by one these fugitives from fate fall victim to the Grim Reaper. This movie is great. I've always loved this movie ever since I first saw it as a teenager. And I have a weird I had a completely weird introduction to this franchise. I actually started with the 3rd movie and then went backwards at the time before the 4th movie came out and everything, like quite a few months before the 4th one came out. So I had never seen the Final Destination movies, and I watched the 3rd one, and then I watched the 2nd one, then I watched this one, and I was in my late teens, so I was really late to the party on this franchise. But I wish I would have been able to grow up with it throughout the early 2000s. I knew a lot of people that loved it. A lot of people recommended the movies to me and stuff and everything. I even had family members recommend it to me, and it just took me forever to finally get around to watching it. And when I finally did, I absolutely love it. This movie is just great. It has such an eerie, creepy atmosphere. Every time I watch it, I just can't help but feel like I have the heebie-jeebies, because the atmosphere of this movie in particular, out of the front, all of them have creepiness to them, but this one especially. There's just something creepy about the way the score was, and the opening scene of the movie, with the opening credits of the movie, is just like really creepy and eerie and everything. From even before the New Line logo is done, the creepy music is already playing and stuff, and I love it. Shirley Walker's score is just absolutely amazing in this movie. It's just one of the best horror movie scores. Very underrated score too, and everything. And I love how they use John Denver's Rocky Mountain High, which is one of my favorite songs and everything. Every time I hear that song now, I can't help but think of this movie, and kind of makes me have the heebie-jeebies and stuff if I ever go to an airport or plan on going on a plane and they're playing that song, and then I will not be going on that plane, because I've seen Final Destination and know what it does. So, but there's a lot of things that I could say that on Final Destination, a lot of things I've learned to avoid because of these movies and stuff, because the death scenes are awesome, because like I love how they're just everyday things that happen and everything. Like little leak from the toilet on the floor led to Todd accidentally getting hung in the sink, which was kind of a big stretch, or not in the sink, but in the bathtub. But it was kind of a big stretch, but it was still creepy and stuff. And like every time the water just goes back in under the toilet after Todd is dead, just for some reason that just creeps me out. I don't know why, but it just does. And then like you see Death's shadow in the teapot when the teacher is about to die, and that whole scene when she's about to die is just intense and everything, because it keeps you guessing on like how she's gonna die and everything that you think is gonna play out all comes together at the very end of it, and it just works perfectly and everything. And they do that a lot in this series, like they're able to do that with all of these movies, build out the suspense and everything. This is one series that I could see going on and on, because they could come up with new ways to carry this series on. It's one of the most easy premises to carry on without having to keep the original cast. In fact, it makes it better that you have a new cast each movie and everything. And I don't say that about franchises very often, but I love that we get a new cast in each movie, although the second one did at least bring back one character from the first one, which I thought was cool and everything. So but this movie is just great, and I love the suspense and everything. And one thing I love with horror movies is I love when they have really good suspense and really good gore and stuff. And this movie has both. It has some really gnarly kills and everything, and you don't even see death. It's just, like I said, the way it moves around to get people and everything, and people die in horrible accidents, and it's death's way of coming back to get them after the premonition and stuff. It's just creepy and stuff. It's like what if I survived something that I was supposed to die, and then death came back for me and stuff. It's like death is going to come back for you no matter what anyway. That's just part of life, so it makes it scarier though and everything. And so I love Final Destination and everything. I think it's a really great movie and everything. And it's the one that made me really, one of the movies that really kind of got me into horror and everything. It was one of the first horror franchises I fell in love with and everything. And I absolutely love this movie, and I can't wait to talk about the other ones because I enjoy all these movies. But my favorite kill in here, well, I think that the teacher has the best, most suspenseful leading up to death and everything. My favorite kill is probably when Seann William Scott's character Billy gets killed by the train, and it's that piece of metal just flies up and cuts his head in half. I just love that scene and everything, and I kind of find it humorous too. Maybe it's just because it's Seann William Scott, but the way he was talking right before he died and stuff, I just found it humorous and everything. So it worked really well and everything. So that's probably my favorite death. I'm gonna try to say my favorite death scene in each movie as I review them and stuff and everything. But anyway, so I'd give this movie an A+. I absolutely love Final Destination. There's nothing about it that I can really say I dislike. It's one of the horror movies that I would actually say is a perfect movie. There really isn't anything that I find wrong with it and everything. And also, I almost forgot to mention, and I would have hated myself for forgetting this, Tony Todd's awesome cameo in this as the mortician. He's only in there for a few minutes in this one and in the second one, and I think he's in part 5 too. He only has small little one scene appearances in these movies, but he is absolutely great in here, and I absolutely love those scenes with him and everything. And at the end of the scene when they're about to leave the morgue and stuff, he says, "I'll see you soon," everything. I just get chills every time I watch that scene and everything. So there's a lot about this movie that I probably forgot to mention, but I just love Final Destination. Like I said, there isn't really hardly anything about it that I don't like. So it's got great music, great acting, awesome suspense, good gore, everything that I could want from a horror movie and everything. And even if it didn't have the gore, it would still be a great movie because the way the suspense builds up everything and everything. So it's just a really good movie. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Final Destination, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.